Gov. J.B. Pritzker ordered all Illinois schools closed by Tuesday, sending parents scrambling to make alternative arrangements for the roughly 2 million children affected by the state's latest attempt to slow the coronavirus.
The order, which also includes private and charter schools, will be in effect until at least March 30.
Let me be clear, I understand the gravity of this action and what it means for every community in our great state, Pritzker said. None of the decisions we have had to make over the last week have been easy or simple.
Illinois is among 9 states to shutter its schools as governors nationwide have taken dramatic steps to decelerate the pandemic. The Chicago Archdiocese and at least 90 other districts statewide already had canceled classes before Pritzker's decision Friday.
The decision makes life more complicated for countless parents across the state, including Donnie Bates, a single mother from Aurora who works at long-term health care facility and cannot telecommute for her job. Between the governor's order and Indian Prairie School District 204's previously scheduled spring break, her 8-year-old son Nolan will not be back in class until at least April 6.
Bates, who gets paid hourly, doesn't have any vacation time available and can't afford to put Nolan in full-time daycare. She may send her son to Virginia for 3 weeks to spend time with her ex-husband and his family, but an adult would have to accompany him on both flights because the boy would need someone to make sure he washed his hands frequently, covered his mouth when he coughed and practiced social distancing on the plane.
She planned to check flight costs Friday night after stopping at Aldi to stock up on toilet paper and canned food.
I understand the reason for the closing schools and the health issues involved, Bates said. But I have been far more anxious about the child care aspect of this than I have been about the coronavirus itself.
Each district is expected to handle the closure differently, with some ceasing educational instruction until the order is lifted and others providing lessons online. Prior to Pritzker's announcement, more than 75 school districts had notified the Illinois State Board of Education that they intended to implement e-learning that allows children to study at home via the Internet.
Pritzker will allow schools to remain open Monday so students can collect their learning materials and teachers can explain how the lesson plans will work. Many districts, however, already have canceled classes for Monday.
The state will view these as act of God days, meaning school personnel are expected to be paid during the next 2 weeks. The governor also waived the requirement that schools be in sessions for 180 days to receive state funding, meaning no district will lose tax dollars as a result of cancellations.
This is an unprecedented event in our lifetime, and we will get through this together, said Carmen Ayala, the state superintendent of education.
Pritzker's edict came just hours after Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot said she had no plans to close the schools and that the governor had not pressured her to do so. As she has repeatedly done in recent days, Lightfoot noted the significant secondary effect of closing Chicago public schools because working parents would need to find child care while the kids were out of class and because many of the 355,000 CPS children count on the schools for multiple meals each day.
To bolster her position, Lightfoot had Chicago's health commissioner, Dr. Allison Arwady, explain to reporters that children don't appear to be contracting or transmitting the virus at nearly the rates of older people.
We all know children, for most diseases, actually are big vectors, Arwady said, with Lightfoot at her side. They have the potential to spread disease a lot. But this particular one, based on what we've seen to this point, does not seem to be, certainly primarily, driven by children.
Pritzker countered with his own expert, Illinois Department of Public Health Director Ngozi Ezike, who said studies showed closing schools can help slow the spread of viruses. While she acknowledged children haven't been struck as severely by COVID-19, they can still contribute to its spread.
We have seen evidence from influenza outbreaks that community mitigation strategies, such as school closures, have an effect on decreasing the severity of the outbreak, Ezike said. By taking these actions now, we hope to slow and limit widespread transmission of this virus, which is essential to ensuring our health care system is not overwhelmed as the disease progresses through our state. School closures will help slow the progression of the virus and we are asking for everyone's help in reducing the spread.
Lightfoot did not attend the press conference and Pritzker declined to say whether she agreed with the decision. The governor was joined by several suburban superintendents and DuPage County Board Chairman Dan Cronin.
The move also has the support of the Chicago Teachers Union, which demanded Friday that Chicago public schools be closed immediately. The union previously said it wanted the schools to close to students on Tuesday because so many schools will be used as polling places on Election Day.
The order came a day after Pritzker canceled all public events drawing more than 1,000 people and asked that gatherings be no larger than 250. The state had 46 confirmed cases as of Friday, up from 32 Thursday.
Of the 14 new cases, 13 are in Cook County and 1 is from Lake County. The total is believed to be even higher because the data is almost a day behind actual numbers and because of the shortage of tests.
Wisconsin, Ohio, West Virginia, Michigan, Maryland, New Mexico, Oregon and Virginia also have closed schools. Indiana Gov. Eric Holcomb did not cancel classes, but he has given districts a 20-day waiver of the required 180 instructional days to use as needed.
Illinois' indefinite closures, however, creates problems unlike those faced when school is canceled for inclement weather or holidays. Many parents cannot turn to child care centers or day camps for help because the ones they rely upon have closed themselves, in an effort to thwart the virus.
The governor is allowing daycare facilities to remain open for now.
All of these choices have cascading effects for citizens and vulnerable populations when it comes to food access, safety, childcare, and social services, Pritzker said. We've seen what happens in places that didn't move with urgency. I ask all of you not to hesitate to do the right thing for your family, your friends and your community. One small step at a time, we will get through this together.
As parents scramble to find child care, school officials face the arduous task of figuring out how to provide meals to economically disadvantaged students who rely upon the subsidized breakfast and lunch programs. Districts are not required to provide meals if schools close for COVID-19, but state and federal agencies have recommended it because they serve as the best source of nourishment for hundreds of thousands of children across Illinois.
With more than 260,000 Chicago public school students receiving free meals, the challenge is greater than it typically is over the summer or than it was during the teachers' strike in the fall. Now school officials must find a way to feed the children while keeping them away from each other.
Illinois has joined a growing list of states granted federal waivers allowing them to provide food to students outside of a group setting in the event of school closures specific to coronavirus precautions.
The Illinois State Board of Education has encouraged schools to keep providing meals if the coronavirus prompts them to close or move to distance learning, or in other circumstances where students are not physically at school.
However, at least in Illinois, each district must figure out how to get the food to each student. Suggestions from ISBE include home delivery, grab-and-go locations, or curbside pickup.
For families of Vaughn Occupational High School, the first CPS school to close so far after an aide tested positive for COVID-19 on March 6, district staff have made boxes with 3 days' worth of food available for pickup at its warehouse in Brighton Park.
The district on Friday said it has also started making deliveries for families without transportation. Volunteers have also been delivering bags of food to families from State Representative Lindsay LaPointe's field office in Portage Park.
This is not forever, Pritzker said. This is a sacrifice in the short term.
Some families won't feel the pinch as sharply as others, though. When Hawthorne Woods resident Allison Clark, 46, learned her 2 children's school would be closed through the end of the month, she saw it as an opportunity.
We're all moving too fast all of the time, with after-school activities and soccer games, so I'm planning on embracing this downtime, said Clark, a freelance writer and editor, who said she and her husband both work from home.
It might be hard to work sometimes, with the kids fighting and bickering over the iPad, which might be the biggest stress for me, Clark said, but I'm hoping to make them understand that we can do this, that we'll be fine, and we'll all get through this.
Shortly before the final school bell rang at Evanston Township High School, a school administrator's voice boomed through the PA system.
This is a very difficult time and an unprecedented time, the man said. The silver lining in all this is we get a chance to take a breath.
Not long after, hundreds of students, including senior Isaac Slevin, poured out of the building without any guarantees of when they would return. The students are set to start online classes Tuesday and plan to return to campus April 12, as long as the outbreak doesn't worsen in the interim.
A member of the debate team, Isaac's hopes of winning a state championship had been dashed after finals were cancelled. The high school basketball games he usually attended also were nixed. And the school's prom and graduation festivities are still in limbo.
I'm personally pessimistic given what I've read about what CDC has said about how long we're going to have this pandemic, Isaac said about the possibility of walking at graduation. I walked out of my English class today not knowing if I'm going to be back.